Hello guys, this is What About Nintendo. Today I'm here to talk about whether or not I think that a Switch Pro should have or will have a 1080p screen. Let's get right on into it. So guys, obviously there's been a lot of rumors about a Switch Pro. I've talked a lot about it. I love talking about the Switch Pro because it's the thing I really want. One of the biggest questions I think, or one of the big questions, is whether or not the Switch will have a 1080p screen. Because obviously guys, 720p screen right now, and you know, 1080p screen would be a lot better. But will Nintendo do this? Should Nintendo do this? Let's get into my thoughts. So first off, I actually think that Nintendo should have a 1080p screen on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm going to give you some reasons why. First off, many games already run at a full 720p or can hit a full 720p on the go. A lot of big games on the Switch already hit that full 720p of the system. They already hit that maxed resolution, like Smash Ultimate, full 720p. Breath of the Wild, full 720p, though not all the time. Mario Kart 8, full 720p. ARMS, full 720p. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze can hit a full 720p. Skyrim hits a full 720p, and many more games hit a full 720p. And so with the current power of the Switch, we're already hitting and maxing out the resolution of that screen, and I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. Obviously, if games are already hitting a full 720p, many games, not even just a few games, well, a lot of games, way more than I listed here, already hitting that full 720p, no matter what, a Switch Pro would be able to go above that. So even just thinking about it that way, it seems like kind of a waste if the Switch Pro doesn't have a 1080p screen. Secondly, a Tegra X2 powered Nintendo Switch would likely be as powerful undocked, or nearly so, as the current Switch is docked. This is literally the very next step. This is a chip that came out just barely over a year after the Tegra X1. This is still a chip from late 2016, years and years ago, and it is twice as powerful as the Tegra X1 and twice as energy efficient. And this is stock. I highly doubt that Nintendo would use another stock chip, especially considering that the Tegra X2 was made specifically for AI and not really that much for gaming. It does do well for gaming, and it would, even stock, do very well for gaming, much better than the X1, but it's not a chip that is geared towards gaming. And likely Nintendo would, even if they use the Tegra X2, they would likely change a lot of things and make it even better for gaming than it already is. Meaning that it would likely be even more powerful than its stock Tegra X2. And I've gone over the specs many times in many different videos showing that the potential for the X2, even stock, is super high to get 2 to 3 times better performance out of than the stock X1 at the same power draw. Considering that, the likelihood that a Switch game, with the amount of games that already run at 720p, could hit 1080p in undocked mode, it isn't even a question. They will be able to hit 1080p in undocked mode with probably better battery life than the current X1. So for them to not put a 1080p screen, I think would be ludicrous. The only reason I could think of them doing that would be for just the pure sake of saving battery life. At that point, I'd rather give players the option to either save battery life or have it in 1080p. Maybe a performance or battery mode available during handheld mode. But it goes even beyond that. I still have 2 more points to go here, guys. The next point is that the screen most likely would be bigger. many people already are assuming that with the Nintendo Switch Pro, Nintendo would likely remove or at least reduce the bezel that is on the current Switch. And a bigger screen means that that lower resolution of 720p stands out more. Not a whole bunch more, we're not talking, you know, like an extra 3 inches of screen or anything, but it would definitely stand out more. And just for me personally, as somebody who owns an iPhone, and you know, I'm used to like super dense pixel displays, even though I only own an iPhone 6s, I can still tell that, you know, my iPhone has, you know, my Switch has been beaten out by my iPhone for like a million generations. Like, I feel like my iPhone 5 looks better than my Switch screen. Now, I'm not saying the Switch screen looks bad, it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially when games hit that full 720p, but it's definitely a lot bigger of a display than something like that, and to have such a low resolution, it definitely stands out compared to those devices. And of course, I understand that the iPhones are ridiculously expensive, like $1,000 phones when they come out, but I'm talking like you can get an iPhone 5 for like 50 bucks. Getting a 1080p display would definitely make it go just that much further to feeling like a premium product, and I feel like the Switch Pro will probably come out at $400, and at that price point, it better feel like a premium product. And finally, VR would greatly benefit from this. So I won't go into the nitty gritty because I've already made a video all about this. You can check it up in that but it's obvious, guys, that a 1080p Switch screen would do a lot to help out VR on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, when you're playing in VR, you're essentially doing this. You're looking like right at the display. It's right there, and it's blown up from those lenses. So you're looking at all those pixels. I've done it on my phone, which, as I said, higher pixel density than the Switch, and that even looks pretty rough. So a 1080p display on the Nintendo Switch would look just way better for VR. And you know, I want to see Breath of the Wild with as many pixels as I can in VR, because that game deserves to look amazing in VR, because that experience is just going to be awesome, and it's literally the only reason I'm buying Labo VR. So yeah. So those are my reasons why I think Nintendo should put a 1080p screen on the Nintendo Switch. Now, will they? That is a very different question. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I don't imagine it'd be too much more expensive to put a 1080p screen on the Nintendo Switch. We've heard rumors from the Wall Street Journal that that's something that Nintendo's considering, is putting a much nicer screen on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure if they specifically mentioned 1080p or not, but they did mention that putting a better screen on the Nintendo Switch Pro is an option. And as I just said, all these points add up to, you know, it making a lot of sense, for me at least, for them to put a 1080p screen on the Switch. But maybe you guys feel different. Maybe you guys in the chat don't think that there should be a 1080p Switch. Maybe you think it would be too expensive. Maybe you don't think it's even worth it. Maybe you think that this 720p LCD on the Switch just looks absolutely beautiful and a 1080p is wasted. Maybe you think they'll go for battery life over power. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell icon for notifications of all my videos. Also, guys, if you would, please share this video with everyone you know who is interested in a Nintendo Switch Pro and all things Nintendo, because it really does help out the channel a whole hell of a lot. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see all of you guys later on Nintendo. Bye.